All right, what's up, Steelers Nation? We're the observers, Chris and Smo today. Grant had a tummy ache.
He drove a little too long in a car, apparently.
Yeah. Well, props to him. He did have some success in that Barstool Classic out at the Greenbrier.
Yeah, so I know our names show up in the comments and whatnot. If you search him, he's big time now. The Greenbrier Barstool Classic came in tied for second with his partner, and he's got like a trip to Arizona out of this now or something later.
Yeah. Yeah, in December. It's like a championship. I think they're playing for like 10 grand.
So all that means is he's on top of his game for when we tee off Saturday in Vegas.
Observers Golf is back.
But before we get to the next nameless gray faces, we get to actually celebrate a win this week.
Whew.
Or at least some of us get to celebrate it.
Yeah. So this past weekend, I would call that football justice. Now, Smo, I'm sorry, but West Virginia happened to win the backyard brawl. Steelers ended up beating the Browns on Monday night. And then I won my fantasy football league, or that game this week. So football justice, we'll call it.
Dude, I had a fantasy team just put up over 230 points in one of my leagues. Probably the best week I've ever had. But yeah, if one game was going to work out Billy's way, I'm glad that it did. It's less painful these days. I mean, we've gone through, I don't want to go through a whole diatribe of NCAA football, but it's less painful these days. Things like the bra that don't mean anything. And I mean, I'm a Pitt grad, but I am a born and raised Notre Dame fan. So if West Virginia were to beat Notre Dame, I'd be way more upset than beating Pitt. So it's what it is.
That'd be way more of an upset.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Most definitely. But anyways, the Steelers Browns, we've got a doozy to kind of go over.
What a bloodbath that was.
Yeah, AFC North ball. That's what Tomlin tells us every time.
Yeah. Talk about a battle of attrition. We had some injuries in that one, some gruesome injuries. Sorry about Nick Chubb. Get well soon, man, but that's tough.
Yeah, that might be a career ender, or at least altering. I think it's the same knee he had in college, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so I mean, who knows what that'll be like? I personally don't feel the hit was dirty, maybe a little unnecessary, but he's a big guy. Like they don't want you going high. You got to go low. It's not the first knee injury to happen. It won't be the last. It just does suck.
Yeah, what's Megan supposed to do in that situation? Chubb was crazy successful. If you hit him up high, you're just going to bounce off of him, and he's going to end up scoring. So something's got to give.
Oh, he was averaging like 6.5 yards a carry.
All right.
So yeah, we can start. Let's start a little there. Let's actually like celebrate what some of the good was. So number one, we get a win, a much needed win. Keep the streak of Monday Night Football going. A divisional win, one that's really going to show up as we try to hunt down the playoffs later in the year. TJ and Alex, stars of the show. Without them, we don't win. Essentially. So those two. I mean, you go beyond that, the connection to Pickens. Pickens had a big game. He showed up. I think even just going in, if you were to say the offense would play as bad as it did, and we don't have Cam and DJ, and we still win, I think you'd take it however you can get. So, Pickens showed out. Watt and Highsmith showed out. Aside from those two, Presley Harvin, I got to give him his love. There
we go.
Dude put some punts at the 1, quite a few inside the 20. He saved. They brought in a punter this past week to push him. He saved his job for another week. I give him the love. I think those are like the only standouts. Is that fair?
The depth at outside linebacker, I think, was really the star of it. Whenever the starting outside linebacker scored 2 of your touchdowns, that's pretty big. But I just think that the depth we have there is something that we lacked over the last few years. So really happy to see that.
You know what? I will go an extra step too and give a little shout out to the middle linebackers. I think what they had to do this offseason in many positions was raise the floor. Last year, if you were to and I'm not even saying like our inside linebackers are the best in the business, because they're not, but to take them from last year of like a 1 out of 10 to, even if you just say like they're a 4 out of 10 right now. That's such a difference from being just absolutely useless. Like, and they're deep in that regard. I think Quanley led the team in tackles. He's all over the place. Holcomb's forced 2 fumbles already, whereas the trio last year didn't force any. Landon's downhill like Vince Williams used to be, so it can pick his spots. They're just like, they show up more than the last crew, which was just like their major liability last year. So big ups to them. I mean, I think they'll get better as the year goes along. That there are 3 new guys in the new defense. And one thing I hadn't thought of before that I heard, I think it was actually Tomlin that mentioned it in the presser today, of how much, because you think about it the opposite way, but it's how much the defense will be able to communicate better on the road, because typically when the home team's offense is out there, the crowd's a little quieter. So our defense can actually hear themselves. Whereas when they're playing at home and Renegade's going, the middle linebacker trying to relay the sounds and communicate is just as difficult as an offense on the road. I never thought of that. So that's true too. So I'm interested to see how they advance and progress, but big ups to them for not being Spillane, Jack, and Bush.
Hell yeah. I agree. Holcomb got stronger as the game went on. He had that tip pass and then he forced the fumble. Also, we forget, shout outs to Larry Ogunjobi. He ended up forcing that fumble on that 4th down, which we challenged.
Oh, yeah.
Tomlin finally won one. I think he hasn't won a challenge since 2020.
Something stupid.
Yeah. So it's been a while. So got our first challenge win, got a turnover there. And like we said on last week's episode, put the ball in Deshaun Watson's hands, good things will happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's the we'll get into our offense a little bit when we talk about the downward stuff, but when you think of going into the game, and they were talking about this on the radio today, going into the game, all we heard was how the Browns shut down the Bengals. They're favorites coming into Pittsburgh, and they're just going to steamroll us. And you leave that game thinking, like, I'm glad we're not the Browns. They've got 200 some million sunk into this guy who just, like, is there a world where he turns it around? I guess, but like, he's a shell of his former self, and he can't hit any passes worth a damn. He definitely doesn't have the legs that he used to. Like, he had a couple rollouts where he had first downs easily with his legs, where he just didn't go for it. Like, I don't know who that is playing. That's not like the Deshaun Watson that was drafted and kind of like tore up in Houston for a couple years.
Almost like those football instincts haven't come back to him. Now, he did hit a couple of those sideline passes. He had a couple nice ones. Amari Cooper, he torched Levi Wallace. Poor guy. But yeah. So he did have
his dropped interception. My God.
Yeah, man. I understand why you're not a wide receiver, but shoot, that's about as easy as it comes.
Yeah, that was bad. Speaking of bad, let's get into the offense a little bit.
I start at the offensive line. Honestly, we keep talking about the running game. We've heard the chatter about Najee and Jalen, which one should be starting and all this stuff. But when you're getting hit in the backfield, you can't even get to the line of scrimmage and you're already facing a defender in your face. What are you supposed to do?
It's so bad. I mean, I know everyone wants to blame the quarterback, and don't get me wrong, we'll get into that. But like, the quarterback hasn't been good, but the team is built to. They drafted a first-round running back. They've drafted linemen. They've signed linemen. The team's been built to play like they did at the end of last season, where they're running the ball effectively. Kenny's maybe throwing 25 passes a game. We're not built to be slinging it around with our rookie quarterback. So when you can't run the ball, like, what are you supposed to do? I mean, when they show the replays, like, guys are just, it's not even just that they're being knocked off the line. They're just not even communicating and blocking anyone. Like, they showed that one where they both went to opposite sides and the middle linebacker just like went untouched in the backfield. And like, what are we doing? Yeah. I don't, Najee gets the ball. He's hit 2 yards deep. Even that second big run he had, it went to the left, and it was so blown up that, just like their run, like, he had to just cut back the opposite side of the field and hope for the best. And like, it's every run play. I don't understand what we're doing.
Yeah, similar to last year, we had a slow start running the ball, and we were talking about Najee's foot was hurt, but damn, same thing. can't get anything going on the ground. But shout out to our running backs because they were busting their ass. Jalen Warren in the passing game, I mean, he was like a bowling ball, making sure that he was getting first down yardage. And then Najee for busting out a couple of big runs, doing everything he can with what he could work with, you know?
Yeah,
So,
and I mean that's we talked about it in text, but Najee is he's obviously he's not Derrick Henry, but he's in that realm of the more carries he gets, the more that he can punish you. Like he's the type of guy, just like Jerome was when you get to the fourth quarter, you've been tackling this guy 4 quarters long, you're a little bit tired. That's when he can go up the middle, stiff arm some guys into oblivion, make it difficult, run downhill. Again, when you're getting hit 2 yards deep, you can't do that. He's not a
mhm.
speedster that's going to just like take a draw to the house or do something like that. So, and when you can't run it, he's not going to get the carries. So, like, he was maybe 6 carries for like 4 yards in the first half. Like, and we could talk about the play calling, but at the same time, I don't think Canada is so much an idiot that he can see that, hey, I'm calling these run plays up the middle and it's getting blown up every time, so I'm going to stop running them. Like, and I totally understand that too.
Yeah, what are
So
you
I don't
supposed
know
to
what you
do?
do. As I still say, the only hope is they played 2 very good defenses to start the season. Let's like see what let's get some weaker competition, see if they can move the lines a little bit, and then just try and get them to gel. I mean, they started off terrible last year and the line got better. Um, I thought they would start better since all we did was swap Dotson for Samalo. Everyone else is the same, but maybe it does take some time.
That was the biggest surprise. I thought there was going to be a significant improvement in the O line and the running game this year. Just hasn't happened yet. But like you said, we've run into 2 great defenses. And the way that the Browns were tackling us, God, they were coming in like kamikaze. I haven't seen a defense really tackle like that. I don't know how sustainable that would be throughout a season for them, but they definitely came to play. So we were able to handle that challenge. We did what we had to do. We won the game, so shit. But
Um, good.
Kenny, man. From the
Oh,
end of last season to this preseason, I mean, we couldn't have been any higher on him.
yeah.
They were calling him Big Ken.
I will say those games last year too that he won were not complete games. There were awful like the Raiders game was awful. The drive at the end wins it. The Ravens game was pretty much the same. Drive at the end wins it. So he hasn't put together a complete game yet. I think a lot of that is one to me. Listen, I'm the people that just go in on him and say he sucks. Like he's still a rookie, man. Like I don't until you like, yeah, he started half the season last year. He hasn't started 17 games in the NFL. Like go back through all these guys that have been drafted. Like it just doesn't happen. Like I mean, I know that like people are just spoiled. To me, it's being spoiled and just like forgetting how hard it is to play the position when we were blessed to have like one of the top 10 to ever do it for such a long time. Like you don't just get dudes like that, like Roethlisberger, growing on trees. It just doesn't happen. So like,
Right.
welcome to like the rest of the league of like trying to make it work, trying to groom a rookie, trying to structure an offense to make him succeed with a coordinator who doesn't appear willing or able to do it. Like even when this coordinator had Ben, they didn't do anything. Like Ben was accurate that last year. Yeah, it was a deep ball out of his game, so I'm sure, but like he could still sling it and be accurate in the mid range. And that offense did nothing too. So I mean, it's
But he
tough.
had to get the ball out of his hand so quickly.
Oh yeah.
That was the worst line that we've had
Also true.
by far. But
So
no,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
it's just like sometimes like that pick that he had throwing it to Pickens. What was he looking at?
Yeah,
Those are
that
the things that I look at, and I also look at the routes that we run or the plays that Canada calls. Oftentimes, we bring so many people into the same spot, including defenders, and then we try to put the ball there. And what do you expect? Of course, it's going to get blown up. Everybody sees what's happening. So,
yeah. There's a few. Let me think how to phrase it. So yeah, a lot of it starts up front too. Like he's got pressure up the gut a lot, which I'm sure is tough. Like great, even the touchdown pass to Pickens. I mean, he got destroyed the second the ball leaves his hand. Um, and then also if you check the snap numbers, like Washington's in there a ton. Like I think
Mhm.
they're aware, and he's not going out for passes.
Right.
Like I don't think he's been targeted once in 2 games, and he's playing like 50% of the snaps. So like I think they know the line needs help, and so a lot of these times, like there's 3 guys going out for a route. It's like 3 guys and a late dump to a running back.
Mm.
Um, and then without DJ this game, like DJ's who gets open off the line. Like, this isn't like 25-year-old Allen Robinson. He's still a safety valve. Um, there's throws to be had, but I don't know how many of them are to be had. Like, did he miss like 3 or 4? Yeah. Did those 3 or 4 like make that big a difference in the offense? That didn't seem like it. I don't
If
know what else
they're
they I don't know what else
if
they had going on.
unless they're the Pickens, there were times where it looked like he was covered one on one, and I just wish we would have taken a shot.
That they need to start doing.
Anytime you see it, gotta take that
Yeah, just
shot.
start laying it up. Just as chunk plays as you can get them, because we can't do this like 2 yard at a time thing.
Yeah, even getting him out in space, that touchdown that he scored. I mean, he looks like a deer running out there.
Oh my god!
That safety looks so tiny compared to him.
I mean, he turned on the Jets. That was a little. I'm like, we know he's fast. So that was like a little surprising how quickly
Yeah,
he made that happen.
yeah, pretty awesome. We just got to feed him more, but then watch out because defenses are going to start targeting him. But then at the same time, that should open up everybody else. I mean, we still have Muth out there.
No, we don't throw
But
Muth the ball. Yeah, and that's part of it on the coordinator to me too. It's like Muth as a rookie was Ben's last year, and that was obviously his most productive year of his 2, and then so far this year.
mhm.
The tight end's got to be a safety valve, and if you're trotting 2 of them out there on most of the plays, and you're not throwing them the ball whatsoever, like there's got to be some easy schemes that you can do to get these guys open or in space. Like I've watched a lot of the 22 stuff when it gets shared online. I'm not scouting every fucking play, so like get out of the comments already. But like a lot of times they're just not there. Like there's some that Kenny doesn't throw, but then other times there's just I don't know what Canada's got on. Like he just doesn't seem to be in the flow of the game.
Mhm.
Like the spread option of Kenny on 3rd and 2. Don't know what we're
Yeah.
doing there. We're running downhill finally, and then we break it up with like a 3 yard loss on a jet sweep. That's just totally
Mhm.
unnecessary. Um, it's just all over the place, and he has enough games. Kenny's still a rookie. Canada's coordinated almost 40 some games in the NFL now, and we haven't seen it in any of those. So like, I've seen enough.
I'll tell you what we have to stop scheming is Muth being like a primary blocker for one of those plays
Oh
that
yeah,
we're
no.
trying to when we're trying to get sneaky. He can't be that main blocker. Also, and then DJ's hurt, but him too, because oftentimes he's not holding a block that long for a guy to get outside. So those are just some things. I mean, just be selective with who's blocking. Like have it be Pickens or Allen Robinson in there. He's there to block, right? Or be a safety valve as well for Kenny. So let's just be smart with who we have blocking.
It's just
Try something
and
else.
it's very like I said, it's just that it doesn't seem like it's in the flow of the game whatsoever. Like when you line up, it's very easy for a defense to see like Calvin Austin coming across on a motion and like whatever the matchup is. Like the Browns have a Koromora inside linebacker. Like he can go on the sideline. Like that's probably not a good play. Like Calvin Austin, as much as like hope we have in him, he's not Debo Samuel taking that jet sweep. Like he's not proven. Like I don't know what we're don't know what we're trying to prove quite yet. Like let's save that for like when the offense is rolling. It's not like a play that gets you rolling.
And whoever's whatever defender's responsible for that, they're just screaming downhill at us.
Yeah.
And they blow it up nearly as soon as you get the ball.
Well, they also know that we can't run it up the gut, and it starts at like it goes back to the line. But if they know like, hey, we're getting a 2 yard push on any handoff anyways, we'll just overcommit to this guy sweeping across right now because we're gonna
Mhm.
beat you on the line of scrimmage anyway. So it's just too easy. Like, start popping some play action off of it. Um, it was even like a little play action draw on Pickens' touchdown. something, something like get some guys. Yeah, I mean, there's fire Canada chants in the stadium. I think everyone's feeling the same. It's a struggle right now. It's definitely a struggle, and I don't put it all on the quarterback. It's everyone.
National media is all over that too. And like you said, we'll get some rhythm going. We're running the ball downhill, and it's almost like I can see Canada up in that booth, like, yes, now I got him. And he thinks he's being sneaky. It's like, and then they're just like, no, shut up. It's not ever going to work. It's like, damn it. Dude, please stop. Tomlin just needs to shake him.
I don't know.
It's a good thing Grant's not here because he would be having a field day talking about.
Yeah, he needs to chill out, man. Maybe he'll listen to this. He needs to chill out. Can he at least put up a touchdown against this defense, or as Joe Burrow didn't? They marched down for a couple field goals. I mean, they produced some points. Listen, there was nowhere to go but up after the Niners game. They at least went up a little. The throw to Pickens with the pressure in his face was good. We'll see how he does, but with lesser competition as he progresses. We'll see what happens. But and I know Grant got mad at me for comparing to others in the league, but just like look around the league, man. Burrow's 0-2 and has been terrible. Deshaun Watson's paid $200 million and is terrible. Trevor Lawrence put up 0 touchdowns against the Chiefs, who aren't really known for their defense.
Nope.
And they got like down into the 10 and red zone a couple times and couldn't convert anything. But people are struggling. It's not just a Kenny thing. So we'll see how it plays out.
I hear that offensive coach, Doug Peterson, Trevor Lawrence, and then, like you said, no touchdowns. And to go back, somebody else that deserves some praise, Chris Boswell. He was solid for us last night. So thank you, because we needed every kick. You know what I mean? Like, every point mattered in that game.
Yeah. And you know what? God, I was looking, probably shouldn't even throw this out there, but I was looking at just kind of across the league before we hopped on. And if we would have fired Canada after the season and had any sort of chance at Bieniemy leaving Kansas City, don't look now at the Commanders, because they're 2-0. They scored 20 and 35. They played the Cardinals and Broncos, who aren't very good teams, but still, that was like an offensive mind that was there for the taking. Who's working with a first-year starter? I mean, Sam Howell sat out all of last year, but we'll see how that plays out this year. Because that's the type of thing to kind of monitor. Trevor Lawrence didn't score this last week, but I live down here in the Jacksonville area. Trevor was terrible as a rookie. You bring in like Doug Peterson, who's had success and completely kind of shifted things around in his second year. So how much can a coordinator do? I mean, it's kind of proven elsewhere that they can make a big difference. So we'll see how much Kenny progresses and if it's enough to save Canada's job. Right now, not so much.
I don't see. Man, could you really see?
I can't see how he gets. I can't see it. No.
I mean, we would really have to go off the rest of the season. We would have to win the division. We would have to start averaging. I mean, we'd have
to win the division by like the offense carrying some of the load. There's no way he keeps his job and we keep winning games even like we did last year.
I think the turnaround has to happen sooner than what it did last year. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was after the bye week for us. I think the bye week is earlier this season for us. But at the same time, I think that the adjustments and everything, they've just got to take place and we got to start scoring.
Yeah.
So, but no, I don't see him coming back.
Yeah, no. But yeah, it's always better to work on these things after a win, though. And I think we can sort of wrap things up with just we talked quite a bit. Grant's rant last episode of Myles Garrett versus TJ Watt. I know PFF rated Myles Garrett well, and he did have pressures, and pressures are great. He forced some disruption. I'm sure he was double teamed and chipped quite a bit. But there was one dude that showed up on the stat sheet and won the game, and it wasn't Myles Garrett.
Not even close. Not even close, man.
Dude, did you see the one play where he got pressure and Kenny rolled to the right and he did a little as if he was going to go into the pressure and try to slip through and then just bounced out and threw it away, and he crossed up Miles's he had a slight ankle tweak. He stayed in the game, They showed the
Yeah,
replay, and it was like he did like the slightest of juke and like almost broke his ankle.
yeah, I did pick that up. Saw him limping around. But man, TJ picked scoop and score, man.
He's the fucking bomb. He is the
Yeah.
bomb.
Oh, and remember how ESPN kept saying that was his first ever NFL touchdown?
It's
And
not.
we both text each other like, no, he had one in the playoffs against the Chiefs
Yeah, we thought we were
2
going to the
years
Super
ago.
Bowl. He put us up 7-0.
Mm,
It didn't last
so
long.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can't
So
believe that one didn't get fact checked. Leave it to the observers.
yeah. So major shout outs to TJ Watt, on pace for another defensive player of the year. Hopefully that keeps up. We're gonna need the splash. But I gave the defense some shit during the game. They definitely got to seal up. They can't. I don't know what I would like. What I want, more consistency or more splash. It's like the lack of consistency when I know they could be better is what kills me. Or it just
Yeah,
comes at the wrong time. It's like we come out at halftime, the offense actually goes down and gets a field goal, and then like 2 plays later, you're giving up a 60-yard rush to the backup running back. Like
and the
just
times
stop.
the times it's happening, like you get the offense backed up inside their 10. It's like 3rd and long, and then they're converting. Or
With
like you said,
ease.
they're giving, yeah. It's like we're giving them that. I asked you, I was like, what is Levi even there for? A 10-yard cushion. He's there to provide comfort to the opposing offense. The fuck?
But they did redeem themselves. So yeah, let's just kind of clean up some of the basics. That way we don't have to rely on the splash play. Like 3 and outs are also good. I don't need it. I don't need the the offense would have to convert, but like I also consider like 3 and outs a turnover in my mind. So more 3 and outs would be good. You don't have to always get a pick six or a fumble for a touchdown. I mean, those are great, but you don't have to always do that. That's a lot to ask.
Yeah, it's so hard for me not to go into the Raiders, but I know we've got our preview episode coming up here in a couple days, and then we got some travel coming up too. So,
Most definitely. Observers will be on
oh,
the scene.
heck yeah! All right, man. Well, that's all I had.
Yeah. Good recap. We'll be back soon.
Yes, sir. We don't know about a guest yet. We're still working on that, but I believe Grant's going to be on for the preview episode. I'm sure he'll have something he's got to
Hopefully he's in
rant
a good
about.
headspace.
Oh, he's going to Vegas. You know, he's ready.
MGM's got the systems back up. So yeah.
Yep. All right, y'all. Well, thanks for tuning in. Again, follow us on Instagram. It's Steelers_observers. And then continue the chatter. We love the comments. The Browns fans, I don't know if I guess they struggled using the internet. I don't know what it was, but we didn't hear too much from y'all. But we want to hear from your fan base. We love the chatter back and forth. Thank you all for everybody who has participated so far. And we'll talk to you next time.